Okay, I just gotta say it, and no disrespect because y'all know I love me some Naruto, but Naruto in the first 13 or so chapters was not at the level that Samurai 8 is right now. So for people that felt like it was a snooze fest, maybe in the 5 or 6 chapter mark, whatever, yeah, you might want to double check and jump back into this bad boy, because Samurai 8 is showing why Masashi Kishimoto is truly a manga creating legend. Let's talk about it.
Whether Facebook, Twitter, or the two, make sure to steer clear, cause I'm coming through like...
Now, hands down, Atta has completely transformed the perspective of many readers alike regarding this series, Samurai 8. The latest, or the first major villain of the series, Atta showing up, just changed everything. Like, for starters, his character design already sick as hell, but from when he shows up from, I want to say, what was it, chapter like 10 he showed up, but from chapters 11 to 13, which is what I'm going to primarily be talking about, Atta has just made this series feel more dangerous, gave it purpose, made it more exciting, interesting, gave it some incredible fights. Like, yo, we're getting Raikiri battles in the first 13 chapters, which, don't get me wrong, some people might take that as like, yo, it's going overboard, but it is showing that Samurai 8 is not going to be a snooze fest, which I think a lot of people kind of had that mindset, because Samurai 8 was very descriptive of things, a lot of Japanese names that people can't pronounce, a lot of, whoa, like he's a samurai cat dog, all sorts of crazy things. So it had a lot, but it was preparing you for what was to come, which is Atta. And boy, he came all over the motherfucker. Now let me stop. So Atta being Daruma's best pupil up until this point anyway, and he hasn't, I believe he said he hasn't considered him his pupil for a long time now, but he came over here, he's looking for Hachikaku, aka Hachimaru, and this dude was a savage. I mean, what he did in the 3 chapters of where the fight really commenced, it's been freaking insane, because I think he showed up at the end of chapter 10 or so, and then chapter 11 is when the fight really begins, and you see, wow, like, yo, he put Hachimaru's pops on a respirator, dog. So getting a little more into it is like, okay, so this is major. Not only was this incredibly freaking dope, like for a startup arc of like a true arc or whatnot, it was great, but also it was a very good foreshadowing of the future. We get introduced to that there, okay, so there's a group that they're trying to, because the whole premise of the series, if I'm not mistaken, is that they're trying to get these 7 keys, right? I mean, in the very beginning, there's 7 keys to unlock this box, kind of Pandora's box, I'm imagining, or whatever. So they want to do that, but it seems as though with this group, they're trying to create like artificial keys, essentially, to get this box open, and Atta and this group had enlisted Hachimaru's father to do that. Now I'm looking at it like, there's so much mystery right here. Okay, so Hachimaru's father created these, or he was creating skeleton prototypes for this, but then also Atta's connected to Daruma, which is insane. So many connections, I know, right? Like, we're connected, bro. Enter the Matrix. But no, seriously. So Hachimaru's father was creating these, but he created an 8th key and then decided, you know what, I think that I'm going to make this dude my son now. What? But yeah, in chapter 11 we get a lot of crazy talk. Definitely Hachimaru feeling very embarrassed because he talked all of that riffraff to Anne, like, yeah, you know, I've been like the best pupil at my dojo, and like I'm just the shit, bro, which very reminiscent of like a Boruto or even early Naruto. I'm not gonna completely just keep on casting this because we've seen a lot of growth already with this character, but he was kind of like, you know, early Boruto, whatever, and he got really shitted on bad. Atta was like, how dare you utter these names? Like, so many interesting things. Atta goes and takes that spirit ball, which I forget what they're called, from Daruma, like a lot of stuff to digest. Each chapter gives you tons and tons of info that when this gets an anime, which you better believe this will get an anime, this is Masashi Kishimoto, this is going to be exciting. Like, I think they could probably pass off a chapter or a chapter and a half per episode, because there's just so much to take in. And going back to, holy cow, a lot of things have been foreshadowed, which we still don't really know too much about Daruma. Atta apologized for abandoning Baku, the princess, and said, I know it must have left you in agony, or whatever the heck he said regarding like it affected Daruma greatly. I'm kind of curious, was Baku his princess? Did he like abandon his princess and went to the dark side, or was that Daruma's princess that he was supposed to, you know, Atta was enlisted to protect, and like he was very apologetic? It seems as though if Atta started off as Daruma's, apprentice or, one of his students, and also a friend, working together with Hachimaru's father, which I think his name is Furuta, if I'm not mistaken. Somewhere along the way, he met this group or these people, or created this group with these people to do some messed up things. So something skewed him along the way. So he's already, you can see he's been changed somewhat. But if he started off righteous, who knows? Maybe at some given point after he comes one more time to Earth, like on some, when Vegeta left Earth, which I still gotta go back to, he reminds me a lot of the Saiyans coming. When Vegeta left, he's like, haha, when I come back, I'm gonna really wreck shit. And then he comes back and bones the crap out of Bulma, and that was that. Which I gotta say, for a lot of people that were early on talking crap about the princesses as well, like, so what do they do? And had some balls, bro. Like, Hachimaru was there sniveling, cowarding, and Ann was jumping in front of him already. Like, even Hagamichi starts busting guns and shit, and Hayataro's jumping in, like, everybody but Hachimaru, which it was leading up to it, so it was a good thing. Like, it showed, like, I think Kishi wanted us to feel like, man, this guy is just trash. He's a liar. He's a shithead. So that when he does have that triumphant moment, we get the flashbacks and everything, it could really be like, whoa. Because, like, yo, how your princess gotta jump in front of you? I mean, it makes for cool storytelling, but come on, dog. Like, yo, what? And there's a lot of metaphoric, philosophical, I don't know if it's metaphoric or not, to be honest with you, but they continue talking about when the god of war abandons you, it's all over. We all, or Ata keeps on saying, we all died once during the ceremony. A lot of really interesting things. So I don't know if this is philosophy that they live by, or this is actually genuinely, like, there's truly a god of war that sometimes just abandons you and leaves you out. Like, I don't know exactly what they're talking about there. Maybe there's some more to it than meets the eye, but just so much interesting detail that really makes me look at it like Kishimoto really thought this one out. He really took the time from Naruto to this series to do his studies and really make some interesting shit. And going back to Furuta, Hachimaru's father, he was, again, seemingly a scientist that was had abandoned them. So why was it that he abandoned them at the last moment? Was it that he created Hachimaru? I'm imagining it was that he created the 8th key, Hachimaru. Maybe he, at some given point, started to develop like a bond with this character. Didn't want them to destroy her. He put something very special into this one. And because they wanted to maybe destroy it, discard it, like, we don't need that one. That's an 8th one. He probably ran with it, I'm imagining. And then we also see that he essentially reconstructed himself, because Ata says that, wait, you were human. What's going on? How are you mechanical? So a lot of just so much setup for the future of like, okay, this got to be explained. That got to be explained. I remember Kishimoto saying in an interview that he was very, very regretful that in the beginning of Naruto he didn't set up a lot of things, he didn't pre-plan a lot of things, so that later on, this was meant for this from whatever. So again, we have that. But the professor has a Mafuba, if you a la Dragon Ball Super, a sealing technique essentially that he created specifically to do a suicide mission, essentially to seal off Ata inside of him. That was freaking crazy. Like, yo, this series just did a whole 180. It was low-key, yeah, it was kind of slow and boring for a few chapters. And it went from that to, we got a Mafuba seal. Ata didn't completely get sealed away, but he got, like, ripped up into, like, he's just a half a torso and an arm and shit like that. Freaking insane. And then chapter 12 is where I went, okay, I can't hate on Hachimaru anymore. The hate must die. Well, I mean, at the start of the chapter, I couldn't completely say that because we had some beautiful color pages. And Ata goes to slash Hachimaru, and as a great father, like, I love the bond. I love how this is different from Shonen, where it completely excludes the main character's parents. Like, Naruto didn't have his dad was dead. He did the exact opposite. Maybe that was intentional. If Kishimoto made a main character that had no parents and had a father that Minato left Naruto out, in a really bad predicament, he wanted a very, very protective father. So we got that Furuta jumps and takes a slash to the back. On top of already he was weakened from using this sealing technique that was inside of him. He gets slashed in the back as well, protecting his son. So you could tell that Kishimoto definitely really wanted to show this is a good father that really cared about his son. And he did a freaking incredible job. I'm not gonna lie, when Daruma said he needed like 2 to 3 minutes to recover and that he even had to go to sleep, part of me was laughing about the sleep part, but it also kind of reminded me of like when Goku told Vegeta, I need 1 minute so I could get my ki back so I could take out Kid Buu. That's kind of what it reminded me of, except Daruma, after those 2 to 3 minutes, he actually eventually puts in work. And then the flashback, which really, like, it's been tugging at the heartstrings, this series. Like, again, I keep on going back to it that people were really going in on this series, but you get the flashback where Hachimaru was again a really, really bad crybaby in the past, and you see where his father couldn't even go to the store to get medicine without this dude freaking out and crying his eyes out. So it's showing that despite in the beginning of the series, you know, once Hachimaru got disconnected, he was still like a liar and a sniveling little brat. He already had came a long way. We just didn't know it yet, because that was a far cry from even that little kid that was crying for his father. And the valuable lesson that his father gave him, like, I really hope that this series picks up, because it could do good for the youth in the real world, to be honest with you, where he says, yo, even when you're feeling sad, you put on a brave front. I am brave. I can do this. And that is such a great freaking message, and I loved it, honestly. Like, that's some shit that little kids that get into the series, let's just say, it'll give them some good courage, you know what I mean? He gave his son courage. It's showing how much this father gave to his son already. And then after that, when Hachi finally says, yo, he apologizes to Anne, he steps forward to Ata, pulls out his sword and everything, I was like, character development. 12 chapters. How can you hate on this series now? How, Sway? How? You ain't got the answers. And don't get me wrong, he does get Shrek'd at first. Like, bro, he gets his hand cut off. It looks like his face got fucking slashed and melted down. Like, Ata's not playing, bro. Ata is such a freaking beast. He's turned this series around so much. But then you even get to a point like, yo, Hachimaru's dodging Ata's attacks little by little. And obviously, again, because people are going to be like, wait, how's this sniveling little brat? Remember, this is a dude that is just basically like a torso and an arm and a head. Like, yeah, he's not nowhere close. Like, come on now. If Hachimaru can at least do that after being around Daruma this time, like, come on, what is he good for? Because I know people are probably going to be like, oh my god, like, how is Hachimaru even standing 1 foot against him? Like, come on, bro, he's a torso. And then he even gets stabbed straight through the stomach jumping in front of Anne, and that's where I knew, like, I can't hate on him no more. Well, that wasn't. There's been so many moments already, but that was just another defining moment that we got major character development. He actually protected the princess. So, you know, it gave Daruma, for example, like, oh, wow. So I know now that this kid has courage. Like, there we go. And it was, again, going back to everything that his father gave him. It's really showing that whatever happens with Furuta, whether he survives or not, he definitely raised his son well. Maybe he sheltered him for his reasons, obviously, like, look at what happened, but he was still raising his son the best that he could. And then at the end of that chapter, of course, he went straight for Ata's neck. He went for the jugular, baby. Like, the action in this series, pretty freaking hype, bro. Again, we're how many? 13? And then with chapter 13, Ata gives Hachimaru props. He's like, yo, okay, you ain't that much of a sniveling little bitch, I see. Like, hey, good job, bro. And yeah, like, that's kind of, I think, the audience in a way. I think a lot of times when authors bring in villains, it's kind of like, in a way, a silent way of acknowledging or just any type of shit talking in general is acknowledging what the fans felt. And a lot of what the fans felt was what Ata said, like, okay, I'll give you a little props, bro. Yeah, alright. And then he says, you're quick on your feet, unlike the other 7. So, with the revelation at the end of the chapter, let's start connecting it, because obviously at the end of the chapter, we know there's like a million Hachimarus or whatever. Well, not a million, there's, 7 other ones. So, Hachimaru has way more potential than all of them. Obviously, when he says something like that, that means that maybe they're slower, maybe they don't think as well, and that's probably because they weren't raised with the love of a parent. They weren't raised by Furuta. They didn't have these values. They didn't have any of this. So that's what makes him different already. This is what stands out from the rest regarding Hachimaru and the clones. But before we jump into that, Ata also said, you weren't supposed to exist. We had 7. You were the 8th. And again, that goes back into my theory that Furuta, for whatever reason, didn't want to throw away this guy. He did not want to throw away Hachimaru. He created an 8th one. I don't know why he did it. What was the reason why he made him blonde on top of all that? But that's Hachimaru's the reason why Furuta left that organization, which seemed like it was bad anyway, obviously, if they're trying to create these artificial keys. If the whole point is that you need to use the real keys, creating artificial keys means that they're up to no good and they're trying to do things in an unnatural order. And bro, when Daruma did, what was it, a Star Crusher, which basically was like a giant Raikiri. It looked like Raikiri, the electric dragon technique that Sasuke used against Itachi. That was basically what Daruma used on what was left of Ata to completely wipe him out. And yo, we 13 chapters and we're getting battles like that. Maybe you could argue, yo, we going really quick with this, but I think in today's today's society, and this is Kishimoto's answer to the times. In 2019, we cannot do what we did in the 80s and the 90s and even the early 2000s, where we got very small setup if we want to blow up. Maybe that's Kishimoto's mindset. Don't get me wrong. Some series do that, but Kishimoto's like, I'm going to get all of the kiddos from this generation to rock with my shit. And that's how he did it, because that shit was so freaking sick. Like, yo, Daruma versus Atsu. And we see that Hachimaru's father is basically on death's door. They got him hooked to a respirator, and he really went all in because his organs disappeared from using that technique. It's freaking crazy. Like, I'll straight up say, like, that was like Mafuba in the stomach. Atsu was like the Saiyan arrival. There's a lot of Dragon Ball Z inspiration in this, but in a good way, because it's still doing its own completely different thing. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it copied. There's a slight inspiration, and it's really good inspiration, because this shit has been hype for like 3 or 4 chapters now. And then lastly, of course, we got the hologram of Atsu, because this dude is like, you can't keep a good dog down, because dude is like, he got back again. This time he's a hologram just to talk shit and say, yeah, you ain't nothing special. Let me show you something real quick. And we see, of course, all of the Hachimaru clones or the other 7 keys, and they're like, hey, we're brothers, bro. I can't wait to see where this is all gonna go. Obviously, from what Atsu said, they're probably nowhere near as, or don't have as much potential. Maybe they might be stronger than Hachimaru now, I don't know, but he said that early on in the chapter, Hachimaru was a lot quicker on his feet than the other 7, which again, that's from the lessons of his father. So they're probably, even if they're strong, they're probably not as bright or as passionate or have that special thing that Hachimaru has, because Hachimaru's a special one. And he says that he will return, so we haven't seen the last of Atsu. I can't wait to see more of this organization that he's a part of. Why did the father leave it to begin with? Is he gonna survive? There's so many freaking awesome things. Daruma's ultimate potential, I want to see that at some given point, like, you know, his true form, his true nature. This manga has turned around a lot, and I am very, very happy to say that if you're a fan of Naruto, you're a fan of the way Kishimoto writes, I think he stepped it up. He had to set things up and do things in a smaller fashion in the beginning, but ever since Atsu showed up, and maybe it might slow down a little bit again, but the manga is just plot twist, awesome fights. It's improved dramatically. Kind of curious what you guys think about this though. For people that have not checked out Samurai 8, that I sell you on it. Again, I don't know what the future holds for us, but I will say that it's made a major turnaround. Things is getting really exciting, and I don't think Naruto was as hype as this in the first 13. There's moves in this alone that Naruto didn't do until Shippuden. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's better than Naruto. There's 700 chapters in Naruto. I'm just saying, like, that first volume, I don't even know if we got to Zabuza and Haku yet. So with this first volume and the second volume, yeah, things are spicy, and I'm really excited. Like, Samurai 8 is the shit, and I think Kishimoto is onto something with this one. I think it's gonna be a big fan base. And if you are a follower of this, for starters, what do you think is the whole secret right there, that there's 7 other clones of Hachimaru? What makes Hachimaru special compared to the other ones? What are you predicting regarding this organization? Why did his father, Hachimaru's father, leave him? And why did Daruma also disown this guy Atsu? Like, why are they trying to create these keys? Why don't they just try and go get the keys? So many theories and predictions right now to be had. But yeah, your overall thoughts and expectations for the future of Samurai 8. This shit is cooking fire. But that's all I have for this one though. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Hit that bell to get all notifications. And if you want to follow any of my other social media, links of course in the description below. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. And remember the golden rule. Anime and manga for life, boy. Bow. Caught you off guard, didn't I? Have an awesome day. Can't forget the music though. Hold on, let me play y'all a little something while y'all go read more Samurai 8.
You never gonna fly, even if you try. You never gonna ride. Gotta keep your head up, even if you cry. That's just one more reason to try. Waiting for karma to catch up. It's a fucking pain. No, I don't wanna wait. I wanna see them pay. The look on their faces